Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Illustrious Female Fan, Steve Alicious here. Today we're going to talk about the Galaxy Fold 3. When I first talked about the Fold 2, I broke it down like this. I said first they had to prove they could do it at all, which was the Fold 1. Then they had to prove they could do it well, which is the Fold 2, and they certainly did that. Then they'd have to prove they could do it affordably. Well, unfortunately, I think the affordably part is going to be put on hold because there are more players in the Fold landscape with the Xiaomi device as well as the Huawei device. So I think they're going to use that and putting some features from those devices into the Fold 3 to keep it at $2,000 for another year. But we're going to talk about which of those features you'd like to see in the Fold 3 as well as some other things today on this edition of Steve Alicious Tech. And we're back. As always, thank you so much to all the new subscribers, getting ever so close to 3,500. If you're loving all the tech stuff, whether it be new cutting-edge foldable stuff or the old stuff, the Blackberries, go ahead and tussle that subscribe button. It certainly means a lot to me. So let's talk about what we'd like to see in the Fold 3. I think regardless whether there were competitive devices in the marketplace or not, the outer screen is the thing that I think they'd work on. And that's probably what they were going to give you anyway. That would be the logical jumping off point if they wanted to improve upon the Fold 2. So a larger outer display, kind of getting a better aspect ratio. Perhaps that metal band that's on the side here, on the left side of the device, of the outer display, would be a bit bigger. I'd like to see it at 2K. I'd also like to see it above 60 hertz, which 90, 120. You're seeing a lot more makers go to 90 hertz, and I think that's going to be the sweet spot, because while you do notice a difference, I'm not going to be one of these people that sit here and say, well, I don't know, there is no difference between 120 and 90. There is. But there's diminishing returns as far as battery life is concerned, because the jump from 60 to 90 is like this, and then the jump to 120 is like this. You notice it, but is it as nice as the battery life is worth? I think not. So that's why you're seeing Huawei go with the 90 hertz on their front panel for their folding device, and I think you're going to see a lot more people do that. But that's fine. That's still a great experience. If they were to give us a nice full front screen, 90 hertz at 2K, I'd be perfectly happy with that. And while we're talking about the outer display, let's talk Selfie Cam, because neither one of the Xiaomi or the Huawei devices have a selfie cam on the inside of the device to give you kind of a uninterrupted experience on the inside panel. I think that's a really good idea. I think having two selfie cams is overkill. I know a lot of people said that, no, I like having the internal one because you kind of get the entire frame you could have. You could have a bigger viewfinder if you're doing video calls, or the other person could be in a big viewfinder on the front screen, in the middle screen, the internal screen, while you're having those calls. That's fine, but to me, I often am looking at content and kind of juggling how I want the selfie cam to show up there, where I want it to be on the screen and lower. Where is it not going to interrupt my content the most? Is it going to be on the lower right or the lower left? I'm doing all kinds of things, and it's a bit of a pain. I think if you have a more functional, if you have a bigger screen, outer display, then you could do those video calls just like you would on a regular glass sandwich phone with no problem and no limitation. So it would eliminate the need, at least to me, to go ahead and have two selfie cams. You could just have the one and have an uninterrupted experience on the inside of the display. Now, some of the things that the Xiaomi device has a quad speaker setup, which it's not exactly novel. It's not something that we've never seen before. They have it on tablets, so it is something that might be worth experiencing. And this is where it starts to get. If Samsung's going to charge the full boat, if they're going to go ahead and charge $2,000 again, $1,900, whatever it happens to be, then even if I don't need some of these features, if competitors have them and they're available and you're charging me full boat, then I want them. And one of them would be quad speakers. Now, when I was talking about my other review, in the first review I had, I did mention that you could block the two speakers. You could block both these speakers on the Fold 2 just watching content. It is possible to do it. I inadvertently did it. I had that sitting there. I was watching stuff. I'm like, what happened to the sound? And it was because I had both hands covering, as you would, holding the device, the speakers. So if you had quad speakers, you wouldn't have that issue. And there is room to do it. there's basically just the top of a regular phone where you could put a speaker, and the bottom where the USB-C port where there is no speaker now, most phones put them down there anyway. So I don't think that would be that big of a deal. Thinner, there becomes a point when I think the device could be too thin and too light. I think this is really a good weight and a good thickness. You want something with a fold to have some heft to it. You want to have a nice positive grip on it. If it gets lighter, and specifically if it gets thinner, I think it becomes trickier, at least for me to hold. Because you're sitting there, you're pulling it apart, so you're even having to be even more fine with your pulling when you're getting like that and try to get your fingernails in there, and it's harder to pull the two halves apart. I think you'd be more prone to drop it if the device got any thinner. So I would leave it at that. The big one is the weight. The Huawei device went for that blade design. If you haven't seen it, it's basically like a MacBook Air, where it's kind of thicker at the base of the device and kind of tapers off into that wedge. And at first, I was really excited about that. I say, gee, Samsung, bring that on in. Because the way I use the Fold a lot of times is I'll have the Thin Fit, where is it? Oh, here it is. The Spigen Thin Fit, just the back of it, on the device, which gives it a little bit of weight and a little bit of grip just to the one side of the Fold 2. But then when you open it up, having that balance across the entire device is just really nice. And I think if you want that kind of weighted to one side design, then go ahead and slap a case on it. But at least you have the option. If you want that and you want it in your right hand, because it's got a right-handed bias. If you're sitting, it's to the right side, because the screen, the top part that folds, is the blade part, the portion where it tapers off. So if you want that, then put a case on it. But to me, and I was out last night, I was holding it with my left hand. If you're right-handed, a lot of people are, majority of people are. If you're holding it with your left hand and you want to be able to do stuff on the screen with your right hand, I think having the thinnest part of the device and the lightest part of the device where your hand is, and having this big kind of weighted base over the edge with no support, it's kind of, you're going to have to use that device two-handed, I think. I don't know how much of a weight difference it is, but I really like the balance of the Fold 2. So I don't think that's something that should be included on the Fold 3. Maybe you think differently. If you like the fact that it's bladed and kind of weighted to one side, so maybe if you're holding it in your right hand, you can have that kind of positive, I don't know, whatever it is, grip that you're getting on it because the gravity is helping you out. Well, then let me know in the comment section below if that's something that you're really looking for. Expandable memory, I know that held a lot of people back. A lot of people were saying 256, not good enough for me. I want the 512, or at least want the option of expandable memory. So Samsung's been going away from that. I don't quite understand it, especially when there were really no options on what you could buy for the Fold 2. So if that held you back, I was surprised that a lot of people in the comment section on my Fold reviews were saying, nope, gonna pass because I don't have that expandable memory. So it makes sense. You're getting a nice big workspace. You want to take advantage of it, put as much stuff as you possibly can, and that includes having expandable memory. And could we get some colors? Just that white that they eventually gave us on the Note 20 Ultra, that would be fine. A silver. Are we really reaching deep into the bag of colors to just give us more? Nothing goes with this. This is blush pink. It's not bronze anything. Nothing goes with this. The cases don't go with it. It's noticeable when you're just out in public. It's just pink. To have the frosted pink or shiny black be your only two choices for a $2,000 premium device, I understand you're not expecting to make a lot of them, but give us something. The silver. Okay, the silver or the white. I don't think we're asking for a lot there. Huawei did a nice silver. It's beautiful looking. Give us something like that on the Fold 3, and I think we'll be doing okay. But other than that, you do outer screen, a couple of improvements, features that you add to the Fold 2, and you're going to have another winner. I understand you got some of these, and what's good is that there is competition. They're not alone anymore. They can't just feed us like a little bit. Oh, we improved one thing. Here you go. Here's another reason to destroy your wallet for another year. Now there are other people making viable folding devices that Samsung's going to have to keep up with, and I think that could only be a good thing. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.